Support for Louisiana, the state we're in, is provided by
Entergy Louisiana is strengthening our power grid throughout the state. We're reinforcing infrastructure to prepare for stronger storms, reduce outages, and respond quicker when you do need us, because together we power life.
Additional support provided by the Fred B. and Ruth B. Ziegler Foundation and the Ziegler Art Museum located in Jennings City Hall. The museum focuses on emerging Louisiana artists and is an historical and cultural center for Southwest Louisiana. And the Foundation for Excellence in Louisiana Public Broadcasting, with support from viewers like you.
Flood prevention grants are up for grabs soon to elevate homes in flood-prone areas. I'll bring you the details. In this week's Life Pulse, our medical expert looks at mental health risk associated with too much social media use. And a Louisiana family travels the state for snake education. I'll take you to one of their wildly popular presentations at local libraries. Let's get started. Hello everyone, I'm Karen LeBlanc. Much more on those top stories in a moment on this week's edition of Louisiana, the state we're in. But first, it looks like state lawmakers are putting an end to efforts to rewrite Louisiana's Constitution, at least for this year. Senate President Cameron Henry says there is neither the political will nor the time to hold yet another special session in 2024. Governor Jeff Landry, along with major Republican donors, hoped to hold a limited session in August to make changes to the Constitution in time to put it on the November ballot. An alternative plan to rewrite parts of the state's tax system has also been sidelined for now. All eyes are on Washington ahead of the Democratic National Convention next month. President Joe Biden spoke to the nation Wednesday night after dropping out of the presidential race and endorsing his Vice President Kamala Harris.
So I've decided the best way forward is to pass the torch to a new generation. That's the best way to unite our nation. You know, there is a time and a place for long years of experience in public life. But there's also a time and a place for new voices, fresh voices, yes, younger voices. And that time and place is now.
Louisiana Democrats were quick to voice their support for Vice President Harris. The head of the Louisiana Democratic Party, Randall Gaines, said, quote, "It's time we come together, and by throwing our full support behind her, we can beat Donald Trump again and continue Joe Biden's legacy of accomplishments and progress for our country," end quote. House Speaker Mike Johnson says the GOP is considering legal action to somehow block the Democrats from switching candidates. He argues that changing nominees this close to the election could violate some of the state's ballot rules. Now, most political experts say that any legal maneuvers would lack teeth because no nominees have been formally put on ballots as of this point. Harris appears to have already secured enough of the party's delegates to win the nomination. The Democratic National Convention begins August 19th in Chicago. Louisiana homeowners who live in flood-prone areas could get assistance for projects to protect their homes. FEMA will soon open up applications for flood protection grants, asking cities across the state to apply for aid. The program is aimed at protecting homes and saving homeowners thousands of dollars in flood insurance premiums. Here's a look at how it works.
Michelle Evans says her home has flooded 5 times since 2003, the year she bought the home, unaware that it was in a flood zone in this Baton Rouge neighborhood.
It's almost like a soup bowl here, right?
Yes, this is 100 Oaks subdivision, and when it rains from Raymond all the way down here, Honeysuckle, the water through the neighborhood rushes, and it's trying to get to this canal right behind my house. And my street and the next 2 streets have mandatory flood insurance, and the rest of the neighborhood is not.
When you bought the house, did you know that you were in such an extreme flood zone?
No, I would have never bought the house. They didn't disclose it until at the closing. I didn't find out about it till then. It went south pretty fast, but I'd already invested my money on inspections, insurance things, things that you have to get to buy a house, termite inspections. So I didn't want to give it up, and I didn't think it'd be that bad.
Michelle applied for a grant from East Baton Rouge Parish to elevate her home. The funds come from a federal flood mitigation assistance grant that distributes money nationwide to municipalities in need of flood prevention funds.
It's an annual grant offered by FEMA. It's competitive in nature, and you compete with other communities across the country for funding, and it's designed to either elevate or acquire properties that have repetitively flooded in the past and have had flood insurance claims in the past.
This is where the engineers come in and they look at the flood zone. This is East Baton Rouge flood level. I had to lift my house at least that high, and I'm 4'11", so that gives you an idea of how high they had to lift it. And I went ahead and went for an extra foot to make complete sure I'm out of the flood zone.
In 2021, contractors lifted Michelle's home. She paid out of pocket for extra curb appeal enhancements, including the brick cladding of the elevated foundation and the brick entrance steps.
It's a lot involved, and you do it yourself. You have to make the effort to get this grant. So I had 6 different bids, and then I looked over the bids, interviewed the people, and made a decision. So the homeowner is very involved.
The homeowner across the street from Michelle accepted the flood mitigation grant money from East Baton Rouge Parish to acquire the home and clear the lot, while another homeowner down the street used the grant funds to elevate the home.
So consumers need to make sure that by the deadline, which is normally around September the 30th, that they have a flood insurance policy in place, keeping in mind that it's a 30-day grace. So normally by August 15th or so, you have to have a flood policy already in place on your property. You just need to contact your local emergency management program in your community and see if they do offer that opportunity. Communities can reach out to the state, the Governor's Office of Homeland Security, to find out more information about how to apply and when to apply.
In addition to grant money, municipalities can opt to participate in the community rating system to reduce flood risks and lower flood insurance premiums for homeowners.
The community rating system, it's a voluntary program within the National Flood Insurance Program that communities participate, like 19 different activities that they can do under 4 series. And the activities they do gets them credit points, and it gives them discounts on the citizens' flood insurance premiums.
Participating communities that lift flood-prone homes earn credit points toward flood insurance premium reductions for citizens.
What was your flood insurance premiums prior to lifting the home?
It was almost $5,000, it's $4,000 and something, and now it's $400. It was pricing me out. One more increase, I couldn't have kept my house with that kind of insurance.
In our community, we've purchased over 150 properties. We have elevated just over 50 already, and we have about 150 or so that are waiting in the pipeline that are either approved or about to be approved for grant funding to be elevated.
The FEMA flood mitigation grants also pay for flood-proofing infrastructure, including the construction of safe rooms for first responders and drainage projects. Michelle was able to rise above the flood risk that nearly priced her out of her home. FEMA awards more grant money in the fall of 2024 to help more homeowners statewide.
The state health department is monitoring several cases of the West Nile virus in northeast Louisiana. Officials say that there are 4 people confirmed in the Winsboro community that have tested positive for the mosquito-borne illness earlier this month. That brings the total number of West Nile cases in Louisiana this year to 8. Health officials are urging people to use mosquito repellent when they're outdoors. They're also asking people to empty out any standing water in their yards. In our follow-up file, we have an update on a Louisiana Speaks interview we brought you earlier this month focusing on solar energy projects in Louisiana. Two companies involved in a proposed solar farm in St. James Parish have filed suits against the parish. This week, the St. James Council rejected plans for the 2,200-acre complex near Vacherie. Council members say residents are concerned about possible safety issues, along with the loss of sugarcane land and the overall aesthetics of the solar farm. Developers say these concerns are overstated or unfounded. If a deal can be reached, the solar farm would be one of the largest in the state and would supply energy to several industrial facilities in the area. And we have another follow-up file to inform you of, the Mid-Barataria Sediment Diversion Project that we've been covering since last year. Here's the latest. A new study finds that the Coastal Restoration Project could increase sales revenue in Plaquemines Parish by almost $2 billion and by almost $3 billion for the 5 parish areas surrounding the work. According to the study, the 5-year project would also create several thousand new jobs in the region in a variety of sectors, from construction to healthcare. Experts want to funnel large amounts of sediment, freshwater, and nutrients into the Barataria Basin to help restore thousands of acres of wetlands. Opponents say the study doesn't take into account the project's impact on the fishing industry and potential harm to some of the wildlife in the basin. Well, from hashtags to headlines, here's what's trending this week. The Olympics kick off this weekend in Paris, the Summer Games. And joining me in studio is our special guest, Victor Howe, longtime sports commentator, former news colleague, and you probably recently saw us on the purple carpet hosting the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. So you are the person to talk all things athletes and Olympics. Welcome.
Great. It's good to see you. And, you know, we were honoring Louisiana athletes at the Sports Hall of Fame. Now we get to talk about so many athletes with Louisiana ties on the international stage with the Olympics over in Paris.
Yeah, so before we get into all the athletes, let's talk about some of the fun stuff happening and kind of quirky stuff. Snoop Dogg carried the Olympic torch to the last leg of the torch journey. What's up with that?
Well, you know, Snoop was part of the NBC coverage 4 years ago, and he did it streaming on Peacock. So if you are a streamer and you watch from that way, he was on there doing late night coverage in his own Snoop Dogg way with comedians. It worked so well, it was so popular, they've brought him over there now. Shocked a lot of people that he actually got to carry the torch, but he'll be doing things for NBC and again streaming for the late night, not suitable for the entire family coverage of the Paris Olympics, but it is funny.
And you got to wonder, is he going to wrap some of this Olympic coverage? I can't wait to see that.
He does it in his own Snoop fashion, for sure.
So the Olympics definitely brings out all of the celebrities and who's, and it's also creating quite the sensation on social media. So TikTok is just like buzzing with all of these videos of these Olympic athletes showing off their hauls, all their swag bags they're getting from brands, Nike, Lululemon, and as you pointed out, international brands and athletes.
And I think it was the opportunity for the Paris Olympics to say, hey, Academy Awards, hold my cocktail and get out of the way, because now you've got athletes by the thousands representing countries all over the world getting these tremendous swag bags. But Karen, the way you just said it is the biggest thing. Years ago, you would hear about the swag bags, say, after an award ceremony, after the Academy Awards. With TikTok and Instagram and everything being right now and in your hands, they can get a swag bag, put it out there, and it's instant marketing. Now everybody wants to buy it. Wait, did you see that jacket Karen was wearing? I want to get that, and immediately starts the search.
And, you know, and to your point, these brands have launched whole Olympic lines for this. So gone are the days of the sad little swag bag with your water bottle, your magnet, and your sticker.
That's exactly right.
So Louisiana has a big turnout at the Olympics. LSU alone has 30 plus athletes. What are some of the athletes to watch?
Well, you know, there's 35 from the state of Louisiana that represent 20 countries internationally, which speaks so highly as to how the state of Louisiana draws athletes from around the world to come and participate in the state. A fine list throughout many, many sports, but here's some to watch. Aaliyah Finnegan's going to be one. She's a gymnast, just won the national championship with LSU in gymnastics. She tried out in 2021, did not have a good effort in the U.S. trials, thought maybe she wouldn't do international sports anymore, except her mom's Filipino. She's qualified as the first Filipino to represent that country in the Olympics. She will be there in gymnastics.
I love that. So she gets a redo. And, you know, a lot of returning athletes get a redo because the Tokyo Summer Games in 2021, that was during COVID, right? So they didn't get the full vibe, the full audience experience.
Yeah, Vernon Norwood is one of those. He actually got 2 medals in Tokyo. He's from Morgan City, putting Morgan City on the international map. He is running in he's a 4-time world champion champ running in the 4x400, which is a team that is ranked second right now in the world. And how about Maggie McNeil? She's a swimmer from LSU. She represents Canada. She did win a gold, a silver, and a bronze in Tokyo. Here's her great story. She will be defending her gold medal in the 100-meter butterfly. And Karen, if she can win it again, not only does she represent LSU very well, she will be the first Canadian ever to repeat as a gold medal winner in the Olympics. So we wish her the best of luck. And don't forget a name everybody knows if you're interested in track at all, Mondo Duplantis. He rewrote the record books at LSU in track and pole vaulting. He represents Sweden. He's already broken his own world record twice this year, 3 months ago. He's really competing against himself. It'd be great to see him.
So before we go, on a personal note, if you could cover the Olympics, what would be your dream sport to cover?
I don't know if I'd have a dream sport. I would want to go to venues that you really don't do a lot here in the States. Look, I've played basketball. I covered basketball for my career. We have football. We have baseball.
Yeah.
I'd want to go to the kayaking, or I'd want to go to ping pong. Breakdancing. Believe it or not, breakdancing this year is a sport for the first time. How about trampoline? Right? You just had a story a week ago about the trampoline athletes. I would want to go to some venues that you just don't see every day, but it's on the international showcase. This is your chance to see it. And I look forward over the next 2 weeks to do it.
Well, the Winter Olympics are coming back to the States. That's after 32 years. They're headed back to Salt Lake City, the 2034 host city. So that's going to be cool. The last time Salt Lake City hosted the Winter Olympics, I think, was 2002. So
Park City, Deer Valley, the Canyons, one of the most beautiful areas in the country. They're going to get it back. It'll be great.
All right. Well, Victor, thank you so much for joining us.
Always great to see you.
So fun to chat about athletes and the Olympics, and we'll be watching.
Looking forward to it.
Well, Louisiana summers mean spending plenty of time outdoors, but one of the possible perils is coming across slithering and sometimes scary snakes. In this week's Good News Louisiana, we meet a family on a mission to educate people about the important role snakes play in Mother Nature and to dispel some of the fears and misconceptions. I'm taking you to Tangipahoa Parish for a look at their growing fan base.
Hand it over to Louisiana Snake ID.
For the Hood family, snake education is a family affair that started with matriarch Ann Hood.
I would catch little DK snakes, which people call the brown rattler, which they're not. The little DK snakes, and I'd let my children play with them, and then we put them back. They wouldn't be in the flower beds. And then they wanted to learn about them, and we didn't have cell phones or anything like that, so we had no Google, whatever, so we'd have to go to the library. We always spent time in the library, and they always checked out the snake books.
It's a full circle moment on this day at the Ponchatoula Branch Library, where son Kevin Hood, his wife Rachel, and sons Kyler and Landon held their first snake-friendly event for library summer reading programs.
Our main goal is to keep people from killing them because they get a bad reputation, so that's why we do what we do.
So tell me how this whole idea of the Louisiana Snake ID came about.
We moved our boys to a swamp, and we would take pictures with snakes. We know what they are, and people realized we did. So people would start sending us pictures of snakes. Unfortunately, snakes are different than, say, a frog or a bird or something. They would also send us pictures of dead snakes.
The Hood family created a Facebook page called Louisiana Snake ID, connecting with people curious about snakes. Today, they educate, relocate, and care for snakes at their own expense.
When you don't know what a snake is, send us a picture. We'll tell you what it is.
The Hood family owns more than 20 snakes, including the family pet, Chris the corn snake, which they bring to their presentations as part of their snake petting zoo.
I learned that some snakes are venomous and some snakes are not venomous.
Louisiana has 48 different types of snakes, the Hood family says.
Of the 48, only 7 are venomous.
Their message to kids?
If you see a snake in your yard, you go get a grown-up.
Call a grown-up should you spot a snake, but don't kill it.
Snakes use their tongue to smell instead of their nostrils.
I personally just really enjoy knowing that all of these kids are really enjoying their time coming. They're not just coming because, mom and dad forced them to. They're coming here and just to see the smiles on their faces when they're holding the snakes, it's one of the greatest feelings in the world.
The family aims to expand the Louisiana Snake ID program and is establishing a nonprofit to raise funds. Swag items for sale, including t-shirts and posters, help cover the cost of snake care and housing.
We would love to have a snake facility like you see some. There are a lot of them up north where people have those. A reptile facility where people could come see them and learn about them, and it's not just a part of the zoo. And then also we'd love to have a snake sanctuary where we could release snakes that would acclimate to the area. We want to travel the state. We would love to travel the country.
One of the snake show takeaways is a respect for venomous snakes and their roles in medical research and disease treatment, a message Kevin's mom proudly wears on her t-shirt.
I'm a breast cancer survivor, so usually he'll say something about the copperheads because they use that venom for that and to treat it. The venom, they use that for breast cancer survivors and other things.
More than 200 people turned out in a rainstorm to pet snakes and snap photos, some even checking out library books about snakes, much like Kevin's childhood snake research trips to the library with his mom. The next snake-friendly generation captured in a selfie and posted, of course, on the Louisiana Snake ID Facebook page.
In this week's Life Pulse, we're digging into the close ties between social media and mental health. People, especially young people, are spending more and more time glued to their phones or computers, which can lead to increased risk for anxiety and depression. Dr. Ronnie Whitfield shares his expertise and advice. In this episode of Life Pulse, we're taking a look at the relationship between social media and mental health. And joining me is Dr. Ronnie Whitfield, aka Hip Hop Doc, social media sensation, here to share with us his insight and expertise on mental health and social media. Now, we'll start this conversation by pointing out that the U.S. Surgeon General recently came out and announced this is a real problem, yes. And he's trying to establish some guidelines and create public awareness. As a medical doctor, what do you see and what are your concerns?
Well, the first thing is I'm a father, so this is important to me. Not only did he come up with some strong guidelines, he recommended a labeling of social media. And I don't know how that would be done, but I guess when you open your screen, it'll say, warning, this increases your risk of anxiety, depression, suicide, whatever. Labeling of tobacco and alcohol, limited research on how effective or impactful it was in changing people's behaviors. But I think with social media, something has to be done. Social media is not all bad. If you curate your list and you're looking at, I have a son and he likes basketball and we're looking at basketball drills and that kind of stuff, and I'm doing it with him and I'm aware of what he's doing, that's fine. But you're seeing some very lewd behavior, nudity, vulgarity, pranks that could be harmful to folks. These young people are seeing it, and particularly cyberbullying in comparison. A lot of the young ladies, particularly young women, will look at this stuff and say, I want to look like that, be like that, but I can't. And it's depressing for them. So we're seeing a lot of anxiety and depression and sometimes suicide from young people that are looking at social media. So there's a huge concern.
So the U.S. Surgeon General said that any screen time over 3.5 hours a day is a problem.
Right.
But realistically, I think many would say our youth are spending more than 3.5 hours a day in front of a screen of some sort.
So he said 3 hours last year would increase your risk of anxiety, depression ×2. And at that time, he was saying the average teen spent 3.5 hours on social media. It's up to 4.8 now.
Wow.
But I would take it a step further. Most of the kids I know have the computer on while they're doing homework. Nobody's writing anymore. Their phone is open while they're scrolling through social media to see what's happening, locally. And then also may have the TV on as well. And so you're able to condense or compress probably 8 hours into that 4.8 hours. And that's a lot of overload for the brain. It affects sleep patterns. And again, the anxiety and depression that could go along with it. So we have to be able to control that screen time. Controlling screen time for our parents is very important.
So what can a parent do?
The number one is controlling screen time. Talk to your child about what's going on, what they're looking at. And also, my daughter first got Instagram, which was after middle school. I think she was in 9th grade when we first allowed her to have Instagram. I had access to the account, so I could see everything that she could see and follow everything that she would follow. So making sure that there's some parental controls there. Talk to your child about what they're interacting and what they're seeing on Instagram, and if there's keep saying Instagram, Facebook, whatever it might be, TikTok. Mm-hmm. And then lastly, get out, put it down, set some parameters, like at an hour before bedtime, no more screen time. Take the phones from them if you have to. They say blue light affects or light affects how you sleep and that type. So take those devices from your children and control the screen time.
So, as a medical doctor, one of your areas of advocacy is heart health. This has got to be a concern for you because not only are they attached to these screens and it's affecting their mental health, but there's consequences for their physical health as well.
Yeah. You're not exercising, you're not moving, we're not getting any sunlight. I see a lot of low vitamin D levels in my practice. That's because people are not getting out in the sun during safe sunlight hours. So again, another part of what parents should do is encourage activity and exercise and or hobbies and doing things outdoors. So getting away from that screen time, spending some time outdoors and doing more family time. When it's dinner time, all phones down. And come on, most families are not having the traditional meal together, but when you're able to do it, it should be phones down and they should take in a group shot of the family.
So signs, warning signs parents should look for if social media is negatively impacting their child's mental health.
Right. You need to look for typical signs of anxiety and depression, addiction. So you have a child that is in the room all the time, just on the phone, just scrolling through the phone, 4 or 5 hours at a time, what is impacting schoolwork, impacting sleep. Sleep, interest in things they used to like to do, guilt issues, their energy's down, weight gain because they're on the screen and they're just eating. The clinical signs of depression and anxiety are very evident and they're easy to identify, but you have to pay attention to your child because it's easy to say, oh, you're in your room studying and just leave them. You need to check in and see what's going on.
All right, final thoughts on social media and mental health, especially among our young kids.
Social media is not all bad, but it's definitely got some things we need to address. And anxiety, depression is real. I don't think I said this statistically, but about 95 to 96% of our young people, teenagers, are on social media. Surprisingly, about 46% of children between 8 to 12 have access to social media as well on a regular basis. So we need to be parents and parent our children and let them know that this is not good all the time. We need to do other things as well.
All right. Dr. Ronnie Whitfield, thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Life Pulse and sharing your insight and expertise on the relationship between social media and mental health. This is a topic we will be following closely as more data comes out about some of the dire consequences. So again, thank you.
Thank you.
That's our show for this week. Remember, you can watch anything LPB anytime wherever you are with our LPB app. You can catch LPB news and public affairs, as well as other Louisiana programs you've come to enjoy over the years. And please, like us on Facebook, X, and Instagram. For everyone at Louisiana Public Broadcasting, I'm Karen LeBlanc. Until next time, that's the state we're in.
Support for Louisiana, the state we're in, is provided by
Entergy Louisiana is strengthening our power grid throughout the state. We're reinforcing infrastructure to prepare for stronger storms, reduce outages, and respond quicker when you do need us, because together we power life.
Additional support provided by the Fred B. and Ruth B. Ziegler Foundation and the Ziegler Art Museum located in Jennings City Hall. The museum focuses on emerging Louisiana artists and is an historical and cultural center for Southwest Louisiana.
and by Visit Baton Rouge and the Foundation for Excellence in Louisiana Public Broadcasting and viewers like you. Thank you.